Imagine an island surrounded by the cold, tumultuous waters of the San Francisco Bay, a place known for its chilling tales and notorious inmates. This is Alcatraz. In the heart of one of the world's most iconic cities lies an enigma that's as intriguing as it is imposing. A fortress of solitude, of seclusion, and of secrets. This is Alcatraz, a mysterious rock shrouded in tales that echo through time. Before it became the infamous federal penitentiary that has enthralled the world, Alcatraz had a rich and often overlooked history. Its early days saw it as a beacon of light, quite literally. The Alcatraz Lighthouse, the first of its kind on the west coast of the United States, stood tall and proud, guiding ships through the treacherous waters of the San Francisco Bay. But the lighthouse was just the beginning. Alcatraz soon transformed into a military fortification. It was the Civil War era, a time of conflict and division. The island became a silent sentinel, a place that held Confederate sympathizers and military prisoners within its cold stone walls. It was only later that Alcatraz morphed into the federal penitentiary that it's widely known as today. But why, you might wonder, is it so often referred to as the Rock? Well, that nickname has roots that delve deep into its time as a penitentiary. It signifies the island's isolation, its harshness, the stark reality that it was a place from which escape was nearly impossible. The Rock. It's a name that elicits a sense of dread, a sense of curiosity, and a sense of awe. It's a name that embodies the essence of Alcatraz, a place that has captivated the world's imagination with its tales of infamous inmates, daring escapes, and chilling isolation. So, how did this chunk of rock in the middle of the bay become a symbol of isolation and punishment? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the mysteries and the history of Alcatraz, the rock that continues to fascinate and chill us to the bone. Alcatraz was not just a home for the infamous lawbreakers, it was also a residence for the people who kept them in check. This island, isolated in the middle of San Francisco Bay, welcomed a colorful cast of characters throughout its time as a federal penitentiary. Among the notorious criminals to call Alcatraz home were Al Capone, the infamous Chicago gangster, and George Machine Gun Kelly, a renowned bootlegger and kidnapper. But the island wasn't just a housing for headline-grabbing gangsters. It also played host to a myriad of lesser-known inmates, men who had committed lesser crimes or had violated prison rules and found themselves transferred to the isolation of the Rock. Yet, it's not just the criminals that paint a vivid picture of life on Alcatraz. The island was also home to the wardens and their families who lived in a stark contrast to the inmates. Far removed from the main cell block, the wardens' residences were spacious homes, complete with gardens and panoramic views of San Francisco Bay. This was a stark contrast to the cramped and cold cells that the inmates called home. Imagine growing up on Alcatraz, your playmates being the children of prison guards, your backyard a prison yard. The lifestyle on the island was one of stark contrasts. One side of the island bustled with the harsh realities of prison life, while the other side, where the wardens and their families resided, echoed with the mundane sounds of everyday life. Children went to school, families had picnics, and life went on as if they weren't living on one of the most notorious prisons in history. But this dichotomy of life on Alcatraz is what makes it such an intriguing place. It's the stories of the infamous and the ordinary, living side by side, that bring this island to life. But what about the inmates, those who attempted the impossible, escape from Alcatraz? Life within the cold, gray walls of Alcatraz was far from easy, and many sought to escape its clutches, resorting to ingenious and desperate measures. The will to freedom was so strong, it inspired a series of escape attempts, some of which have become legendary in their audacity and creativity. Prisoners, driven by the tantalizing view of the mainland, plotted elaborate schemes in the hopes of making it past the vigilant guards, the treacherous waters, and the imposing walls of the Rock. One of the most ingenious plans involved the crafting of dummy heads. Crafted from soap, toilet paper, and real human hair, these decoys were left on beds to fool guards during routine checks. Others, meanwhile, channeled their efforts into creating homemade rafts. They used raincoats, ingeniously stitched and sealed in the hopes of braving the frigid, tumultuous waves of the bay. Yet, despite their efforts and ingenuity, most of these daring attempts ended in recapture and, occasionally, tragedy. Now, let's turn our attention to one of Alcatraz's most infamous inmates, Robert Stroud, better known as the Birdman of Alcatraz. A notorious figure, Stroud's story is often tinged with the myth that he kept and raised birds within the confines of Alcatraz. However, this is nothing more than a fallacy. While it's true Stroud developed a passion for birds and even became a self-taught ornithologist while incarcerated, this happened at Leavenworth Penitentiary before his transfer to Alcatraz. Once at the Rock, Stroud was not permitted to continue his avian activities. Yet, the nickname Birdman stuck, further adding to the intrigue and mythology that surrounds Alcatraz, a place of desolation, of ingenuity born from desperation, and of stories that blur the line between fact and fiction. Despite its grim past, Alcatraz has evolved, standing as a testament to history and resilience. Today, Alcatraz is more than just a relic of a bygone era. It's a beacon of history, attracting millions of visitors each year. The first lighthouse on the West Coast, the Alcatraz Lighthouse, still stands tall and proud, guiding ships through the treacherous waters of San Francisco Bay since its establishment in 1854. After the closure of Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in 1963, the island lay abandoned for several years, its stories and secrets shrouded in silence. But the silence was broken when the island became part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, and its transformation into a popular tourist attraction began. The island also bears the marks of a notable moment in the Native American rights movement. From 1969 to 1971, Native Americans occupied Alcatraz Island, demanding its return to indigenous people and the creation of a cultural center. Alcatraz, a place of stories, history, and mystery, awaits your visit. Are you ready to uncover the secrets of the Rock?